The trade is official. Michael Porter Jr. is a Brooklyn Net. Cam Johnson is a Denver Nugget. We are headed to a new version of the Denver Nuggets core. The future is now. We're going to talk about the implications of this trade, what Denver Nuggets fans can expect from Cam Johnson. And also, I want to spend some time talking about Michael Porter Jr., why he is so important to this franchise, some of his best moments in Denver, and really just remembering the player that helped Denver win his first and only NBA championship. This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Y'all, welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is Swiper. This is Locked On Nuggets, your team every single day. Y'all, this is both a bittersweet day. This is a sweet day where the Denver Nuggets are taking a leap into the future, and it is a little bit of a bitter day in losing Michael Porter Jr. to Brooklyn. But y'all, this is the NBA. This is the business. This is the nature of the beast. There are a lot of great things that are happening for this team, but also there's some people that are just leaving the building that honestly have had such a big impact in what the Nuggets have done over the last several years. But y'all, the trade is official. About 2 hours ago, about 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'll say, the Nuggets announced that Michael Porter Jr. had indeed been traded for Cam Johnson and a 2032 unprotected pick. Cam Johnson is in the building in Denver. I imagine previewing the facilities, talking to people, getting to know the ins and out of the Denver arena at Ball Arena. So there are a lot of things that we're celebrating today. And I think Cam Johnson, on all the study that I've done, I'm talking about from shot creator, looking at some of the advanced numbers, looking at all the websites, just kind of measuring what exactly he does at the highest level. What are some of the great things about him? I mean, there are a lot of great things to look forward to with Cam Johnson. But y'all, I am deeply going to miss Michael Porter Jr. I am going to deeply miss Michael Porter Jr. for several different reasons. One, a lot of y'all, if you're familiar with me and have been familiar with me since I kind of burst onto the scene in late December of 2020, my career working in this field started at the same time as Michael Porter Jr. Remember, Michael sat out that 18-19 year with the back injury. He comes back in 1920, and really with his ascension into the league after the break in the year, and they go into the bubble because of COVID. And then coming into the next year, Michael Porter Jr. was such a hot commodity around the league because all of a sudden it looked like the Nuggets had a 6'10" and a half foot true star in the making. Michael was this Titanic of an athlete from a shot making perspective. He had a little bit of dribble to him. He had a lot of bounce to him. The dude was getting to the rim. He was working off the ball. He was doing these side steps. I'm talking about massive side steps, step backs for three. And you saw a lot of really, really good high-level things that, like, you know what? I can see the vision. When Tim Connolly drafted Porter at 14 at the end of the lottery, when the consolation for not making the playoffs in 2017-18 was getting Michael Porter Jr., when you took him, you saw, for me at the time, one of the 5 best high school prospects that I've ever seen. So this is LeBron. This is, going through the list at the time, obviously Zion, came around that area. You had a lot of people. You had Trae Young. You had Michael Beasley. You had Kevin Durant. For me, Michael Porter Jr. was right underneath that LeBron tier. Michael Porter was a 36-13 player, the number 1 overall player coming out of high school for most of his time. And I remember watching him, and first he was headed to Washington, and then eventually he headed to Missouri to go be with his dad. And I'm like watching this dude. I'm like, bro, this man is insane. This is the actual Kevin Durant 2.0 that we were looking to see. Then he had the back injury. Then he goes to Missouri, plays 3 games in Missouri, and has to overcome so many things, has 2 back surgeries. And then he goes through the draft in pain at the draft. And then he somehow manages to get his body in the right position. And then all of a sudden, we get this tantalizing talent in Denver. And while he didn't end up being the star that many of us were hoping he was going to become, that I think I can safely report has nothing to do with Porter and his work ethic. Nothing to do with Porter and his work ethic. It has everything to do with the fact that Porter's limitations athletically and Porter's limitations as a player are strictly because of where his back has gotten him to in this career. But even despite that, the dude has turned out to be a real rotation player. A real rotation player. And so you love to be able to watch a player develop from where he is and being a person that might not get playing time in the NBA to being able to work himself in the shape and work himself to a level where he can get consistent minutes. And y'all, that rookie year, I don't know if y'all remember this. So his rookie season, he ends up playing 55 games that year, started 8 games. Remember, Michael Porter Jr. had the Sacramento game, but he really, his breakout game that I shared on Twitter, he had the game where he played versus the Indiana Pacers, and that was like the first time that it looked like Porter was going to end up being like a star. And I remember that game like very fluidly because that was Porter's like first 20-point game of his career. Prior to that, he had 19 points, like I said, versus Sacramento. He was playing really well. He was 8 of 10 from the field versus Sacramento, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. And it just kind of looked like, all right, like the dude is a really good scorer. Like, honestly, he was more talented even than Jamal Murray from a talent standpoint. So it looked like he was on this way to being something special. And then you get a 25-point game versus Indiana, y'all, where he was 11 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. He was 9 of 9 from 2. He was 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 25 points, 5 rebounds, and had an assist, and he was a plus 13 in that game. And that's a game that they won 124-116. And again, that was off the bench. That game, Jamal Murray had 22 points, 8 of 18 from the field, and 7 assists. Nikola Jokic, 22 points, 7 rebounds. You know, this was Jokic is still like ascending to himself. You know, 19-20 was kind of a little bit of a down season from 18-19. But Porter off the bench had 25 points. You had Jeremy Grant off the bench coming that year. You had Monte Morris off the bench that year. You had Mason Plumlee off the bench that year. Paul Millsap was on the roster. Will Barton, Gary Harris. Like this was that iteration of the roster where it was just like, man, like you're seeing something. So, and everybody remembers, like a lot of you might be here after, you know, the championship. But if you're a part of this Nuggets fan base at this time, the Nuggets hadn't even gone to a conference finals prior to 2009 with Carmelo Anthony and Chauncey Billups and Kenyon Martin and Nene Hilario and Anthony Carter, Aaron Afalo. Like the Nuggets hadn't been there. So we're sitting here like, how do you build towards that? We had at the time, I don't think a superstar, but you had a star in Nikola Jokic, first team All-NBA 18-19. We thought he was going to be first team All-NBA again that year. He wasn't quite the aggressive Jokic we would later come to love and expect. Then you get Jamal Murray, who's kind of on his way at this point in time, like 21, 22 years old, figuring out how to play. And then you get to watching Porter develop just really slowly into this player that looked like he was just going to be really special. And then you had a period from, January 12th to January 26th, where Porter had double-digit games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight, 7 straight double-digit games, and then had an off game, and then had 2 more double-digit games. And it's like, again, you're seeing like the level that they're getting to. You're seeing the scoring. And so I really loved watching him play. I love watching him kind of figure things out. And everybody remembers like Michael Malone was like not the biggest Michael Porter Jr. fan Not that he was like didn't like him, but Porter was just, it's Porter. Like Porter can just do some stuff sometimes that is not the smartest. And he was still figuring out how to play ball because he hadn't played any college ball for real. But one of the last points too, and I don't know if y'all remember this game. I'm going to see if I can put this out and see if y'all remember this. One of the points that was one of the most special was Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. And this was versus the Indiana Pacers again in a 113-103 victory in 2021 in March, right before they got Aaron Gordon. Murray had 23 points. Porter had 24. Jokic had 20. And it was just like Jokic had almost had a triple-double that game too. And you're like, all right, this is the future. This is where they're going. Like the Nuggets have 3 players now that's a part of their core that I think is going to change things going forward. But on the other side, we're going to wrap up the Porter, kind of just remembering some of his best moments. We're going to talk about the Cam Johnson piece of this and really where the Nuggets are headed from this point on. And then at the end of this, we're going to talk about Jonas Valanciunas and I think a very, very easy path towards like fixing this situation. We'll talk about all that and more here on the other side of Locked On Nuggets. Now, y'all, summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Now, you're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Now, I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps refreshing with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. Y'all, once I looked at the Nuggets getting all these players, I looked at their FanDuel odds for an NBA title. Last time I checked, you can get some really great odds on the Denver Nuggets title. So I would be looking at that, see if that's something you're interested in. So again, if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5, get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. We'll be right back for more here. Locked On Nuggets. We're back here for segment 2, Locked On Nuggets. Hope you're having a spectacular day. Today is the official trade day for the Denver Nuggets and the Brooklyn Nets, y'all. Make sure if you're listening to this on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify, give us a 5-star review. That way, more and more people can listen to the great content being made here every single day at Locked On Nuggets. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure, like, share, and subscribe. I believe we're getting to 15,000 subscribers by the end of this season with the great content being made here at Locked On Nuggets. So again, y'all, please in the comments when you're watching this, share your favorite Michael Porter Jr. memory. What is your favorite Michael Porter Jr. memory? And per Bennett Durando, who does a great job, Michael Porter Jr. in Nuggets franchise history, 15th in points with 5,597, 18th in rebounds with 2,209, 14th in made field goals with 2,123 at 50%, second in three-pointers in 843 at 40.6%, and first in effective field goal percentage at 59.9. For all of the things that I have said over the course of my Nuggets career, I once said that Michael Porter Jr. shoots jump shots at a similar efficiency as Zion Williamson does from in the paint. And that actually ended up bearing out to be true. Porter is one of the most special jump shooters that has ever touched this floor in the NBA. And I hope he has a tremendously successful, even more successful for career in this next portion of his career than he did in Denver. He deserves it. The dude works hard. He shows up every day. He tries his best to be available for his team. He has played 158 of the last 162 NBA regular season games, including playing 14 games in the 2024 playoffs, and then including this year playing in 14 games in the 2025 playoffs, even with a very, very injured shoulder. So we love Michael Porter Jr. We appreciate Michael Porter Jr., and we hope the very best for you and your career if you're listening. And I also want to give a shout out to his family. I have talked to his father, Michael Porter. We had a conversation on my channel years ago. He is a very gracious man. Every time I see him in person, very gracious. I hope the best for you, for Mike, for Sierra, for the rest of the kids, and that their future is even brighter than things have been for them now. But y'all, Cam Johnson is a Denver Nugget, man. And I am so very, very excited to see how Cam Johnson plays in a Denver Nuggets uniform. And I think that people, he is going to quickly, y'all, become one of the favorites, I think, within the Denver Nuggets facility and within the Denver Nuggets franchise. And the reason I say that is he is such a smart player and person, and the way he processes through the game, the way he processes through what's happening in front of him. You know, if you go watch his clips, you know, with the old man in the three, and you watch him talk to JJ Redick, and even talking about JJ Redick's shooting form and his motion coming off of a screen, swinging right, and why JJ is able to leverage his body and his movement in ways that other shooters can't, that are right-handed, going to the right, because he's making it all one motion. That kind of stuff is like the transformative way you have to think to be a really great off-ball player in this sport. And I think that that is going to be one of the key elements that makes this transition so good. It's going to be really exciting to watch and see how he figures out his role in Denver, how he continues to work through all of the different ways that we can find out how to use him offensively. I think his brilliance as a player is going to be really meaningful for this team as well. And I think that him and Jokic, him and Murray, him and Gordon, him and Brown, him and Bruce Brown, him and, we'll talk about here in a little, maybe Jonas Valanciunas, him and Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther, him and Tim Hardaway Jr. There really isn't a player on the roster that he will not fit well with, because he'll be able to figure out what he's supposed to do. Jamal Murray, you want to play on the ball? Well, then I can do that. I can make that happen. And I'll go ahead and put myself in position for you to be successful. And also, I know it was only 4 games. The last time Cam Johnson was in the playoffs was in 2023, and he played 4 games in a sweep when the Brooklyn Nets played versus the Philadelphia 76ers. He was probably the second best player on the floor, maybe in that series. He averaged 18.5 points in that series. He shot 59% from 2, 43% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. And he also shot 86% from the free throw line. So just imagine that he's having to be in this situation with his skill set and what he's going to be able to provide as a basketball player. Like, I'm really excited for it. I think that he's going to be a great culture fit, namely, and that's probably going to be maybe one of the most important things, because especially as, like, you know, players have to process through a lot of stuff that's happening on the floor. I think that's going to make a big difference overall, you know, for the roster and for what exactly it is that they're trying to do. So I'm really excited for it. I'm going to share some stuff on my Twitter about him here shortly. But if you look at even just his player card and the things that he does really well, whoo boy, special player and extremely talented. And I think that his off-ball stuff is going to be really the biggest headline that people are holding on to. But shoot, like, I think it's going to be special, y'all. Like, if you look at even some of the stuff he grades out in, his overall off-ball gravity, if you go to BBI, all it is basketball index, has player profiles and everybody. He's a 92nd percentile overall shooting talent, 86th percentile with finishing talent. He's average, above average help defender. He's somebody that's like works hard, screen mobile defense. His screening defense is like towards the rim is really good. He's an 87 percentile mid-range shooter. In terms of perimeter isolation defense, he's about a 75th percentile, which again, relative to like what you were getting from Porter, is really good. Like, overall 3-point shooting gravity, 93%. You love to see that. That's something that I think is going to have a lot of action and a lot of things they're going to do really well. That's going to help, I think, this team overall. If you look at where he ranks from an efficiency standpoint, he's a really good free throw shooter, 3-point shooter, mid-range shooter, and he's somebody that works well in half-court creation. He ranks out in 62nd percentile, which is good for a B around the NBA. Again, it's something you'll be able to use. His half-court shot-making efficiency is also at 91st percentile. So really anything, like even in transition, he's a 97 percentile in scoring, which is an A+. Again, just think about all the ways that you can use him and the ways that he's going to be able to be utilized both on and off the ball. And especially when it comes to assisting, when they're loading up in the post against Jokic, when they're loading up strong side with Jokic and Murray and Gordon, where they're running their 2-man game or they're running their 3-man game, having him as an outlet, even the DHOs, screen stuff he'll be able to do with Jokic himself. He's a moderate passer. Like, I think that everything that he adds to this roster, y'all, you should be excited for it. You should be excited for it because I think there's a lot of really, really great things that are going to happen with him in the lineup. So I'm looking forward to it. On the other side, we're going to talk about this whole situation with Valanciunas and what exactly is going on. What do I actually think the Nuggets would do and why I think there's a different path they could take, but we'll see if they follow through with it. We'll talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. We're here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Wiper. This is your team every single day, y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're continuing to build up this great community we have here on YouTube. On the Jonas Valanciunas front, y'all, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, y'all. I mean, really, it's just that simple. They're trying to make a decision, it seems. Jonas is in a situation where he apparently had somewhat of a verbal agreement. His agent had a verbal agreement where he had already promised the Grecian team that he was going to be available in the summer of 2025 to play. And what's happened is this miscommunication that the Nuggets were not aware of has bled into now the teams in between the Nuggets and with the Grecian team are basically like, okay, we don't know exactly what's going on. Jonas, from everything that I'm reading, it seems like he wants to play in Greece. I mean, truly. There was an article that was shared from Euro Hoopsnet that's kind of going around right now, and he was asked directly about playing in Denver and then being traded and all that, and his response was very mixed. It said, "You can say anything. A lot has already been said. All kinds of thoughts. The bubble burst. Everyone shared what everyone thinks. We'll only find out when the first game is played. Everything will be clear. When the trade is finalized, we'll come up with a plan. The Nuggets will express their wishes, how they think, how they see it, medicals, other details. That will depend on the team." Valanciunas had previously mentioned regarding his trade in Denver. So Valanciunas has a verbal agreement on a multi-year deal with, please somebody help me in the comment section. I don't want to butcher the name because I'll butcher it right now. But if you can help me with the pronunciation of the team in Greece while he's still bound to an NBA contract. So when the trade is finalized, we'll come up with a plan. They will express their wishes, how they think, and how they see it. All right. I think, personally, this situation is very amendable. Quite simply as this. Jonas, the trade goes through. Denver, Jonas, we will release you. We will release you, but we will not pay you a cent of the money that we owe you. So you will have the ability to get a multi-year extension with Panathinaikos, Panathinaikos, if I said that correctly. We will give you the full ability to get a multi-year extension with the team that you so desire, because the rumor on the street is he wants to be in Greece to be closer to his family, which is he's Lithuanian. So that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We won't pay you any of the money. Al Horford, who I am literally screaming from the top of the roof. Al Horford is sitting right there. Right there. Jonas, it sounds like, wants to talk about with the Nuggets. The Nuggets want to talk about his role. He knows he's going to back up Jokic. He knows he's not getting a lot of playing time. He knows he's got 1 year guaranteed, the next year partially guaranteed. He knows that this could be the last big contract he gets, maybe. So he wants to go play in a place he knows he can get real money and real long-term security. And as a person who has a business, who's a business owner, I fully support your want to and willingness to get the best deal possible for you and for your family. Because at the end of the day, you are most responsible to yourself and to the people that you are responsible for taking care of, which is your partner and your children and any immediate relatives that are under your care. So I fully support his ability and desire to do that. And I think that when him and the Nuggets sit down, when the trade is finalized, which should be quickly, mind you, it should be quickly. This should be it. It should be quickly and smoothly over. Because I think, Jonas, you get what you want, and the Denver Nuggets, you need to turn your eyes, turn your attention, turn your gaze towards a player that I think is an actual 82-game, 16-game player in Al Horford. I think that is the better move for the team this year and next year, should he be willing to play again through age 39 to 40. I think that makes more sense than trying to force something to happen that I think is just, it's too much. And again, if I'm Denver, I'm already having conversations with Al Horford and his agent saying, hey, let me tell you the timeline. We traded for Jonas Valanciunas because we believed that that was the best and most immediate way for us to solve our backup five issues. But had we known that you were opting out and that you would be interested, we would have swung the direction towards you. But in order to make that happen, we had to get rid of money. And the only way to get rid of Dario Saric's contract, to get underneath the first apron and to have the MLE and have money to be able to give to you, is because we got off the contract. And that had to happen to get Jonas Valanciunas. So for me, I would very easily say, Al, this would be the perfect situation for you. I could make the argument that this would be the best situation you've ever been in. You'll be playing with Jokic, behind Jokic, with Gordon, behind Gordon, with Cameron Johnson, with Jamal Murray, with Christian Brown, with Bruce Brown, with Peyton Watson, with Julian Strawther, with Tim Hardaway Jr. I just think that's it. Like, I think from a fit standpoint, Al Horford would be a better version of Paul Millsap, late career. I'm talking about late career Paul Millsap next to Jokic. Because having a big that's a shooter, like an actual threat shooter, like he's a threat shooter. Y'all, since he's been in Boston, he's averaging 4.5 threes a game at 39% from three. And he's still a good rim protector. Like, he's, to this day, is still a good rim protector. To this day, he's still a very good defender. To this day, he's still a very good situational defender. He's a very good post defender. Like, to me, it's just not even a question. I think Al Horford should absolutely be doing everything he can to come to Denver. He's an off-ball big, stationary shooter. He's a helper defensively. If you look at his interior defense, y'all, he's still a 70th percentile rim protector, which is a B grade. He has a 94% percentile rim deterrence. He's an 83rd percentile help defensive talent. He's a 94th percentile post defender. He's a 95th percentile screen defender. In terms of mobility, he's a 92nd percentile rim defender off of screens. Like, for me, it's just like it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. He defends power forwards and centers, and he is a switch defender. Like, it's just not even a question. He grades out. Teams are shooting 4.3% worse with him as a rim protector, which is a B 71 percentile rim protector. Still at 38 years old. Like, for me, y'all, it's over. Like, I think if the Nuggets are able to make this happen, they should, for me, would be the, like, not bona fide as in no one has a chance, but they would have a great chance and great argument as the best team in the NBA. It's a really good free throw shooter for a big. Half court shot making is all there. I mean, to me, y'all, it's a matter of, can they convince Al Horford to wait out this tunnel, wait out this Jonas Valanciunas thing. And I think that makes it all the difference. So I think that they should just let it just slide. I know that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's literally what I'm saying. I think the Nuggets should pivot from Jonas to Al Horford. And I think that should be the conversation. I think Al is still waiting for a reason. Again, this is all if. I think you should be in conversation with Jonas's people. I think you should be in conversation with Al's people, and you should be working to do what you can to make that happen. It's just that simple, y'all. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Nuggets. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. What is your favorite Michael Porter memory of his tenure in Denver? What are you expecting from Cam Johnson? What do you think about the Jonas situation? And is there another player that you would prefer if Jonas is not able or not going to be a Denver Nugget, y'all? This is Swiper, Locked On Nuggets. See you on the other side.